Yeah, we're here.
Love this.
I love getting to talk to you.
Yes.
So yeah, I'll go first.
Love that.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Brennan. I'm an exercise physiologist here at AFS, and I've been here for going on 2 years. And I love many things about working here, but mostly meeting new clients and helping them get started with exercise. Very rewarding and fun, and I like to think I help people develop habits that they continue on for a long time. So,
Nice, Ann. Nice. Hi, everybody. I am Chris Early. I am one of the health coaches here. I've been here for 12 years. I take the majority of our members through. Yeah, that's a very long time. That's a very long time. I take the majority of our new members through our My 90, our 90-day process. Get them started in that behavior change, figuring out what can I do, what can't I do, what works, what doesn't work. But yeah, I got into this field because I myself didn't know what to do, and I was looking for I needed some guidance, you know, and so I went to school, sports medicine, exercise science, and in that I came here for my internship, and then boom, 12 years later, here we are. So yeah, I originally got into this field kind of personal. Like I was like, oh, I don't know a lot. I want to learn more, but also it was very selfish body composition related. So I grew up overweight. I didn't know how to lose weight. And so again, went to school, got knowledge. And then after that knowledge, I said, you know what? Mind you, I lost a significant amount of weight and was not happy at that point. So decided, okay, got to do that internal, like figuring out like what's purposeful, that sort of thing, and helping people and getting people to understand how to move their body, how to live a life that is more able and capable, and that like empowerment aspect, that is now the reason why I do what I do is, you know, those aha moments of this person gets it. This person can now climb up the stairs with their laundry basket, not in pain.
Well, for me, kind of a different through line. I've always been an athlete, and so still are. I still am. That's true. And so, you know, but as I got older, and you know, that had to be kind of more of a sideshow. I just always, I'm a swimmer, and I just always loved it, and you know, do it several times per week, and can't imagine not having regular, pretty intense physical activity as just a part of life. And when I was around 40, decided to, oh, I'm going to start doing triathlons, and started doing this training, realizing the science behind the training was so interesting. So I decided to kind of ditch a 15-year career of business and administration and go back to school in exercise physiology because I was so fascinated by the science of it. And along the way, realized that the most interesting thing I can do with this knowledge is help other people try to find that same joy that I get out of physical activity. And that's really what I've been doing since getting that additional degree, and it's just been so fun and interesting, and I love to you know, see other people like develop that consistency, because that's, you know, I'm not some world-class athlete, but I'm super consistent, and so my goals are around the consistency. And so I encourage people, it's not how much you can lift or how fast you can run, it's about how often can you keep going hard, and that's been a really motivating goal for me that I like to help other people try to find.
Yeah, I mean, physical activity essentially is just moving muscle that is expending energy, right? Like when you are cleaning your bathroom. That is a part of physical activity when you are walking outside. Yeah. But like just anything that's, contracting muscle and producing energy expenditure is physical activity. And like you said, exercise is part of one of those categories. Yeah. So, it can get broken down into like 4 segments, right? Kind of recreation segment, that household chore segment. Traveling, like biking, like going to from work, that sort of thing.
It's super effective as a lever in changing your health or health outcomes, because there's so many studies that talk about the effects of a sedentary lifestyle. And so the best way to combat a sedentary lifestyle is to just move and get up. And but sometimes you don't realize that, and you don't know, you don't have that programmed into your day. You don't even realize that you have the ability to sit for 10 hours working at your computer or something like that. And so sometimes what Chris and I do, and our other colleagues do here, is just remind people that you shouldn't, it's not suggested that you sit for 10 hours in a row. Get up every hour. And for a lot of people, that it just hasn't occurred to them that they should do that, or that they would feel better if they did that. So just kind of explaining some of the things around the effects of sedentary behavior and very small changes that a person can make. Getting up for a minute, 5-10 minutes every hour, that can make a huge difference in your circulation, in how you feel, in your sleep, in your blood flow. And so these are some of those aha moments that I've had that you were talking about.
Yeah, for me, a lot of it is an awareness piece. Much like Ann was talking about, it's like people just aren't aware how inactive they are. Right? It's like I'm so focused, like I have the blinders on, I'm at my desk, I'm plowing away and I'm doing the thing, and there goes 4 hours and I haven't got up off my chair. Yeah.
Oh, no, it shows up. It shows up a lot, because I'm sure Chris works with a lot of clients, same as I do, who work busy desk jobs over a computer where they're sitting for long periods, and they drive to their office. So they're sitting in their car, then they sit in their office, and they drive home, and they're tired from a stressful day, and then they sit in their couch at home, and then they go to bed. And so that's just very little movement without even thinking about it, like Chris was saying, with that awareness. So I do try to talk to people about, show me what that day looks like, and then we can talk about where are some areas you think you could add in some additional activity. And because the clients need to be able to come up with it. I don't know how they feel during the day or what's going to make sense, but if they can come up with ways to do things or ways to incorporate some additional activity, and I'm not even talking about the structured exercise, the 3 times a week at AFS. I'm just talking about just move more. And when they develop that awareness and then start doing it in ways that they can manage, they do report feeling better. Haven't you seen that?
Well, a lot of it, we already touched on it a little bit, but the awareness piece. Got it.
Get it.
Okay, so a lot came out of like the pandemic in terms of like inactivity, and there has been a lot of virtual meetings now, right? Like before it was like, hey, I'm on a phone call. Person could be on the phone and literally they're walking around in their office, right? Now, a lot of it is that virtual meeting. So now they're at their desk having, the camera on their face, and they're not able to walk around, right? And do the thing because they have to be professional. So all of that being said, there are some things that came out of the pandemic that were positives in some ways from a professional standpoint, but really took a back turn in terms of, again, physical activity for a lot of people. So like now I can't be on my phone and walking around the house, right? which that was like a big go-to thing for a lot of my professional people was, hey, you're on the phone, take a lap around the house, right? Now it's like you have a standing desk, right? You have a standing desk, you have the little treadmill under, that sort of thing. So especially when they're back-to-back meetings. But yeah, just finding the ways that they can move more, like Ann was saying.
Is it challenging when you guys try to prescribe? Like, what are some obstacles that show up when you approach that topic?
Well, it's hard because it's different, and a lot of people feel pretty stressed in their jobs, and so like, well, I'm not going to have time for that. My job doesn't allow for that, and so that can just make it more difficult. So I try to ask then, okay, well, let's start with another part of the day. Let's look at the morning or after work. Are there other ways you could accommodate some activity then? And oftentimes people say, I used to walk every evening.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember why I stopped that. But then they recall, I did enjoy that. And so people pick that back up again. And then report back, I can't believe I didn't used to do this.
Yeah.
And now develop this new habit. So just trying to find points of entry to make this work.
Yeah.
And then, but the workday can be tough. Sometimes it's around the lunch, like, oh, I guess I could have my lunch a little. We try to kind of talk about ways they could make it work. But it's very specific because people's jobs are sometimes quite regimented.
Yeah. I had one client where, her job is very sedentary, but she doesn't live that far away from work. So like for her, she took her, like, this is the whole transportation thing. She said, you know what, Chris, I will take my bike to work and then back, and then boom, right there. She was moving more, felt more active. Energy was a lot better during her day, those type of things. Yeah. Time is a big one, right? Like, but I think it's the perception of time, right? Like, again, just like what Ann was saying, it's like, well, can we try to find a little snippet here of time, right? I think, again, it all comes back to this awareness piece of when can I do the thing, or how can I adjust, what I'm currently doing. But again, stress levels, it seems unmanageable, right, to the individual. But they have to come up with that solution that best works for them.
Say more about the perception of time.
Ooh, well, no. So I think that, people get so bogged down in terms of like the actual the to-dos, right? I got to do this, right? And they get caught up in all that, and they don't carve out that piece for themselves to then make themselves more productive throughout the day. I just hit the mic. They don't like. Activity actually helps like productivity as well, right? Your cognition, all of those things. So like by being more active, that will just help in terms of like doing the thing that you're already doing. And like when you get like that 3 o'clock like slump, that's when it's like, okay, I got to get up and I got to move a little bit, get the juices flowing.
Yeah, it's this virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
And because sometimes people don't want to have that, they immediately jump to, I don't have time. And part of the reason, part of that perception is because they know they're tired.
Yeah.
And what we have found and what people realize is sometimes getting some of that activity in gives you more energy.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like you have created some time because you have more time in your day that you feel like doing stuff, including the to-do list and the things you have to do. But so I have found that people who report back having inserted some extra activity into their day have created more time in their day. So I think that's part of that perception of time. You can't get more than 24 hours, but you can get more hours of feeling good time by having some more activity.
Yeah, that purposefulness.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So I mean, it's different every time, of course, because they're very individualized. But I would say just a noticeable increase in activity. That's what I prescribe. I want to them to be aware of making an effort to make a noticeable increase in daily activity, and then I want to hear what that feels like. And so it could be, and they can design it how they want, or we can brainstorm about how best to do that. But yeah, that noticeable difference. So that's why I don't have like a step count, a minute amount, because I just want it to be something that's noticeable to the individual.
Yeah.
I've never had someone say, I'm going to clean for an extra 20 minutes. But yet my mom doesn't come to this gym. So it's typically a walk. Because people enjoy walking. And, so fitting in a walk is probably the most common thing that people end up doing. People also love gardening, but that's often kind of weather and need dependent.
Yeah.
And so it's not something like, I have 5 minutes to garden, I'm going to go out and garden. That's a little bit trickier. I do encourage gardening for a number of reasons, but the walk just seems, it's kind of simple. It feels good. It's doable.
And I think it has like the least amount of barriers to implementation, right? In terms of like, I shouldn't say we all, but like the majority of the population knows how to walk, right? And if you're not able to, trying to some ambulatory movement otherwise, right? So, this is where it's like, just again, I can put on my shoes, go out the door, weather permitting, that sort of thing, and move about, The walk actually does show up for me, and more so, I do provide a little bit more of a, hey, let's try to increase our activity, 20 minutes more a day than what we normally do, right? So if I can get them to, again, a step count or something that is like, again, bringing that awareness piece. Again, sometimes members don't know how inactive they are initially. And so this is where it's trying to like bridge that gap of like where they were and, just again, general, trying to get in 150 minutes of physical activity per week, right? For those health benefits,
Well, it's both, and it starts with what the client is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And if they have a more specific health outcome, and and we do often have clients that come in and say, I just want to feel better. I just don't feel as well as I used to feel, and I didn't notice I had declined like this. And so, if they seem kind of focused on their feeling, then I do like to tell them, you will start to feel better, because I know they will.
Yeah.
You will start to feel better when you start adding in this extra activity, and they do. And even though it's not, I don't have a measuring stick, a quantifiable measuring stick, but the fact that they say, yeah, I felt better, I have more energy, I take it, and I, tick that box that this client felt better, and it's awesome.
Generally, like I will also prescribe some sort of like water intake goal. And I'm like, hey, you're consuming more water. You got to go to the bathroom more. You're now more active.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 birds, 1 stone. Let's go.
It provides even more benefits. And so if somebody thinks they can include outdoor physical activity, I feel like that's a bonus, because just vitamin D, fresh air, just some mindfulness of noticing your surroundings. If someone lives near a woods or a park or something like that, that just compounds all the benefits. And but again, we meet clients where they are, and that might not be accessible, or it might be daunting or something like that. So if they want to go to a a local indoor track and get their extra walk in, I'm all for it, because that's activity. But getting to do something outside, I think is a huge bonus, and I always encourage that.
Yeah, I would also agree. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have a walk with a friend in the woods every Sunday at 8.
Nice.
And I do not do that to tick all these boxes of friendship, woods, walking,
Kind of like a powerhouse.
yeah.
That is a powerhouse.
But it is awesome. And, I catch up with my friend, and we always make a point at some point during the walk. One of us will interrupt the other to say, just look up, and we look at the trees, we
Yeah.
appreciate the leaves, and we love, we're year round in these woods. And so we love getting to see the seasons and all the changes. And we always take note of that. And so that just kind of helps with, a practice of gratitude and mindfulness, just noticing those surroundings in the instant you're in them. Plus, I'm having fun with my friend, and we're walking for well over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. We decide to do a third lap, but and
Nice.
it's kind of uneven terrain, so it's good, and but that's like a planned thing. So when the other part of your question is kind of what are we doing for to increase physical activity during the day? I like to walk, and so I have I meet people downtown, and I like to walk downtown from where I live, and I have friends in my neighborhood, and I like to walk to their house as opposed to drive, and I like to ride my bike to appointments or things downtown as well. I use my bike for transportation. So I just, when I'm able to choose to get in a little more activity or do something on foot or bike rather than car, I do that. And so that's a way I try to get in more activity.
Yeah.
I love it.
For me, a lot of my physical activity is outdoor, gardening and landscaping and say that pro landscaper. No, not a pro. But I do like that is like the enjoyment that like in the sun, I'm getting my hands dirty. Kemper would say I'm grounding, doing all of these things outside, right? That provides, a lot of benefit for me. And it can be taxing depending on like what I'm doing during that landscaping time, shoveling, moving rocks or whatever. But I would say in general, like for me, it's this awareness piece. Like I am standing a lot, doing personal training, but I'm not doing a lot of like the moving back and forth, right? Like when I teach a fitness class, I'm hustling. I am walking back and forth. Personal training, it's a little more sedentary. Even though I'm standing, I'm not moving a lot, So this is where, like, for me, when I teach classes, I try to go around and move a little bit more to try to increase my physical activity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. I will say that, members come in here for exercise, right? And then we start with the structured exercise, and then building on that is the physical activity component. So, like, I can tell you stories in which people feel stronger and now more able and capable of doing more physical activity throughout their day. And so now it's that compounding effect of like, okay, I feel better, I'm doing more, that sort of thing, right? Yeah. The hiking trip. Yeah. Okay. So I had a client who she started out here. Her goal, was body composition in nature, but originally it was just being stronger to be able to move better, right? And so this individual, we ended up training for, at that time, I want to say, we'll call it 6 months to a year. And then around that, like, again, 9-month mark, she had a trip planned, and hiking was the thing. Like, she wanted to be able to go on this hike. And she initially was very scared, and, but after doing all of our training, she was able to complete this like pretty big task, that she had, but it was a goal of hers to complete it. So, yeah.
I have several clients who have osteoporosis, and one of them, was feeling pretty defeated by the diagnosis, and I'm not capable of doing things like I was, and but was planning on, she loved to hike and had several trips planned, kind of year by year by year, and wanted to feel strong and confident on these hikes. And so working together, she referred to herself as weak and incapable, but just because of consistency, her steady progress led her to be able to hike in a number of different countries on uneven terrain like your
Yes.
client was doing, and complete things that she didn't think she would be able to do. And it was a result of growing that confidence in her own abilities despite this diagnosis, that she could still achieve things. That diagnosis didn't need to define who she was or limit what she could do. She moved beyond that by just keeping on trying and improving. And it's great to see, and she's still doing awesome trips.
Yeah.
I feel like I should go.
Well, even still on that, right? Like, this individual with osteoporosis, like, increasing her physical activity and just that like the little bit of impact there will help her osteoporosis,
Absolutely.
right? Like, so it's just like things like that, so
Yeah, that is huge. And I actually had a client, his doctor wanted to take him off his antidepressants because he had seen such an improvement when he became consistent in physical activity here. And
Wow.
so that was the recommendation, and he's doing great. So
that's awesome.
because and also people, part of the mental health component sometimes comes from people finding a community here. I've seen that happen too. Sometimes in personal training clients, but also people I talk to who are in the strength classes, they have found a community that keeps them coming back, that they have friends outside, friends from the gym that they hang out with outside, and that has reinforced just positive thinking about themselves and their situation, and has made a difference in their lives.
Yeah.
Big time. Absolutely.
Top 3 physical activity tips. I would say number 1 is like find something that you enjoy doing. Do the thing that I would say has the least amount of barriers. I like something that Ann said. It's a consistency thing. So like do the thing that you're going to be the most consistent, right? Like I 100% agree with you from a consistency standpoint. And then I know you said 3. I'm going to say another one. But like I love a game, and I'm very competitive with myself and other people. And so like this is where like the step count comes in, or like some sort of like logging of like, okay, I did X amount of whatever, like a distance goal, what have you. And
Got it. Okay. Over to me.
top 3.
Top 3 ways to get physical activity in? Is that the question? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to say number 1 is it has to be something you have to like it, and because there's no point in telling you to swim just because I like it. You may not like it.
I
And
like it,
so,
Ann.
Chris, then you should swim. I'm always trying to get you to swim.
Yeah.
But you have to like it enough to do it again and again and again. And it also needs to be something, Chris was talking about like with minimal barriers. If the only thing you like to do is downhill ski and you live in Ann Arbor, that's a tough one for consistency.
Yep.
So looking around and finding something that you can do to move your body and move it often and year round is really helpful. And I also think enlisting friend, partner, family member
Agreed.
is really important for it. It can make it more fun. It can also provide a little bit of an accountability piece because you've made this appointment with this person or something like that.
Yes.
And or maybe it's a class, whatever. The social element I think can be really important for some people, and so that's an important thing to consider. So having it be fun, doable, and social, I think are my 3 things.
I like that.
And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for sticking around, watching, learning. If you extracted some value, please share this with your friends and family. You can also click the subscribe link. I believe if you're on the Spotifys and Apples and you're listening to this, there's a subscribe link at the bottom of the episode. If you're watching on YouTube, bottom right of this video, you can click subscribe to stay up to date on the latest episodes. Thank you again for joining us on this episode. And with that being said, be well, stay connected, and take care of your health.